girls.
Life is girls.
Life as girls.
Life as girls. We have a lot to say and we hope you're listening.
Hi everyone, I'm Maddie, your host today on Life as Girls. I'm here with my guest, Manal, and today we're going to talk about how reading and access to books and literature has influenced us. Whether you're an avid reader or someone who's looking to develop a reading habit, you'll be interested in listening to this episode if you want to learn more about the transformative power of literature, how to find books that resonate with you, and the lasting impact that reading can have on our lives. Plus, we'll get insight on how Manal created literacy workshops and a free library for her Girl Scout Gold Award. Manal, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here. I'm so excited.
To get started, please tell our listeners a bit about yourself.
I'm a senior in high school right now, so I'll be graduating in almost 2 months. I'm 17 years old, and I've been in Girl Scout for almost 12 years now, and I also do theater in school.
Nice. Tell me a little bit about your earliest memories of reading. What were your first meaningful experiences with books?
Since I was maybe 2 or 3, my mom has wanted me to start reading, so I started learning very early. My dad would read books to me when I was younger. I'd bring them from the library. They were picture books. He would read them almost every night, and it was just the library was a place that I would always go. I'd go back there almost every week to check out books. So I had a lot of fun there. I met people there.
I remember whenever I first started reading, I didn't always read. It was until I was 9 when I actually started reading. Beforehand, I just could not read.
Yeah.
Just terrible at reading. And it wasn't until I met someone, and she's my adopted mother, and she read so much, and I was just whoa, that's so cool, I want to read. And so because of her, I started reading. So that's where I started. Many of us had a book or series that really sparked our love of reading. Was there a particular book or author that ignited your passion for reading?
I started out reading the basics, Junie B. Jones, Diary of a Wimpy Kid. I really liked My Crazy School. That was one of them. But I think when I really got into it, it was when I started reading Harry Potter and Percy Jackson, especially Percy Jackson.
I've never read Percy Jackson.
Really? It's so good. I'm still reading it to this day.
Nice.
So, yeah, what about you?
Harry Potter, the female spin-off of Diary of the Wimpy Kid, Dork Diaries.
Oh, yeah, I read that too.
I had every single book from that series, and I loved the covers. I wonder, I'm trying to think. Now, my bookshelf. My bookshelf is insane. Rainbow color-coded. It's amazing.
Yeah.
You mentioned going to the library as a kid. Do you still get your books from the library, or have you changed how you access books?
So, yeah, I went to the library maybe till I was 10, but now I just use the library app. So I'm still kind of using the library because I still have to renew the books. I still have to put them on hold and return them in 2 weeks, but it's just on my phone now. So yeah, it's a difference. I used to go every week, but now it's I just get them from my phone.
Do you think being introduced to reading at a young age has any influence on someone's relationship with books later in life?
Honestly, it doesn't matter what age you start reading. I feel everyone who does enjoy it just finds a place, a time in their life where they start, you said when you were 9, you started enjoying it. That was the influence that they had. So I feel the young age, being introduced to it might not be as important because some people do find it later on. Yeah.
Makes sense.
I know you also like reading. Do you think being a reader early in life matters?
I mean, like you said, I feel not always, but it definitely does help because I'm pretty sure scientifically, when you're younger, it's much easier to learn
Yeah.
things, and so
Yeah.
like maybe there is a limit, like if you like already went through high school, like maybe you won't develop it. But I think there have been some cases, like my grandparents, where it wasn't until they were old when they started just reading all the most random stuff, and then that's when they got into reading. But I mean, I guess it depends on the person.
Yeah, like the critical like learning period is when you're younger.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree. Like it's probably like more prominent when you're younger.
Another thing on that though is like it is important though to also like read at a young age, because like I was saying, like whenever you're younger you start learning things and you start developing opinions, and that kind of stuff. So when you're reading at such a young age, and I know for me, because of reading, it helped like expand my worldview and like made me be more open and that kind of stuff. And I feel like potentially if I didn't have that, I wouldn't have developed in that sense. I know that your passion for libraries and for reading inspired your Girl Scout Gold Award project. Can you tell us about your project?
Yeah. So basically in 2023, this is the summer right before I started my junior year, I found out about this area in that my family's from in Pakistan. It's Karachi, Pakistan is the city that they're from. There's a county within this city called Orangi Town, and it's the biggest slum in the world. There are the illiteracy rate is very high there. It's almost 3/4 of the population is illiterate. So just seeing these differences, seeing the conditions people lived in, because I did visit Pakistan like a year before that, I decided I would like establish a free library in Pakistan. So all the books there, all the resources, everything would come free for the people who live there. So I spoke to a local educational, like one person who volunteered in an educational organization who knew my dad, and he was basically the representative who did what I came up with over there. So I made all the guidelines, I made all the stuff that I wanted them to do, the book list and everything, and he would basically execute it over there. So we spoke to a bookstore owner who was willing to give a few shelves of his library, his bookstore to us for the library, so we didn't have to worry about renting a place or getting a location for it. So after that, I started asking my family and my friends to donate money. So just from my family and friends and like my parents' friends, we raised about $800 and bought books over there with the $800 because the books are a lot cheaper over there in their local currency. It's about $2 to $3 per book. So we were able to get more books and also help a bookstore owner over there. So I originally only planned for this library, but after I like noticed that only 25% of the people living there would actually be benefited by it, I started these monthly workshops that there were like the people from the educational organization that my project advisor was from. They were like volunteers who were part of the 1/4 literate population, and they were working in this educational organization. So they helped to run these monthly workshops, and they would basically teach like numbers, alphabet, reading, writing, arithmetics, all of that. And I gave them all the guidelines for what to teach in the workshops, and I made like rubrics and stuff. I sent them all to them, and they would have these workbooks for the people. And yeah, they had this curriculum for fundamentals for all that.
Nice. I feel like that's really awesome, very touching, especially as a huge reader myself. And obviously, you love to read, and it sounds like that was a big inspiration for you. Was there anything else that drove you towards this?
Yeah, so just so like my family would visit Pakistan like very frequently. Every other year we would go so much, and I would just think about the differences, because my dad was the first one from our family to move here when he was in college. So I was like, if he was the one, like if he didn't move here, could have been in that place where I would have no resources, and it was just one that chance of luck that I was able to have the resources. So I was like, that's not fair that the same people that my people don't have them. It was just, it inspired me, motivated me to start this project. And also just reading is critical to like having a better life. So like people could get jobs with them, especially because the economy is like getting worse in Pakistan. There's job opportunities, and reading just is a major form of communication. Since there's technology, like people text, you need to be able to read to text people, and entertainment purposes, like hobbies. Reading and writing are like hobbies too.
Yeah, I feel like more that reading does is, like, I know for me, it broadens your imagination.
Yeah.
Like, it allows you to think outside the box and come up with all these crazy stories. Like, because of my reading, I also write, and I can come up with some of the craziest worlds.
Yeah.
It's awesome. And it's also like an escape. Like, if you're going through a hard time in your life, you can open a book and like pretend you're there, or like you're the main character. And I love doing that.
Yeah.
And it also just helps you see other people's perspectives, like whenever you're reading from another point of view.
I feel like you also learn like so many different people's stories, and it could like inspire you to do more in the world, like help more people out too. So yeah.
I feel like for me too, reading is like another version of social media.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, that sounds cool. I want to do that. But instead of it being like a trend on TikTok, it's like a character in a book doing something cool.
No, and it like forms connections. Like people have similar interests, so you start meeting new people and meeting like new friends from that too.
Oh, I love like whenever I read stuff with my friends, and then we can like talk about it and be like total geeks and nerds about it. And be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe she did that. Like it's so fun.
Yeah.
Your project is over, but do you have plans for it in the future?
So, yeah, my project has been going for over a year, like sustainably. I stepped back from it maybe in like August, and it's still been going on. So I haven't had to stay involved in it, which was like a gold award requirement too, to step back from it later on.
Yeah, have it be sustainable.
Yeah. So the workshops continue. People still, there are some people from like Orangi Town, the county themselves, donate books. So some books just keep on coming anyways. And then since it's a library, when people take books out, they come back too with their returns. But I did want to have maybe like community gatherings, like reading nights, just events that libraries have. Like even in America, we have so many events in libraries. So I was hoping for something like that, but the area itself, like where the library is kind of small since it's part of a bookstore. So kind of like maybe just outside of it maybe, or in people's houses if they were willing to do that, or parks. I was hoping to have like community gatherings, because just people donating to the library itself too, like just gave them more of a sense of community because they were helping out like their neighbors, and just having the gatherings kind of like reinforce that too. Yeah.
I wonder if at those gatherings if they would all geek up together about the books they're reading. Do you have a book you want to recommend?
Yeah, so freshman year of high school, I picked up this book in my English teacher's class, and I just like, she was like forcing us to all read a book, so I'm just gonna pick up this random book. It was so good. It's called All the Bright Places by Jennifer Niven. Have you read it? Okay, so it starts off like, it's kind of like a roller coaster, and the end is like, it just kind of shows that like not everything has like ends happily, like kind of how every book kind of has a happy ending. It's more realistic. It was really sad, but it's...
So, I'm gonna cry.
Yeah.
Oh no.
You cried a lot.
It's worth it. It's worth it.
I cried a lot, but it was just more realistic. It was like a more I was like, oh, like it's not a book, like this happens in real life. There's not always gonna be a happy ending, which is just like reality. What about you? Are there any books that you want to recommend?
Oh, there is this one book that I have loved for forever. It's called The Secret Life of Bees by Sue Monk Kid, I think. And it is so good. It's about this. It's like a historical fiction, and it's back during like the Civil War, and this girl, she like lives with her dad. Her mom died a long time ago, and her dad, he's very not nice. He is not nice. And she runs away and starts her own life on a bee farm. And every chapter starts with like a fun fact about bees. I love it's so touching. It made me cry. I love that book. And it was really funny because the author, that was the first book she ever written. And it was literally a masterpiece. I am shocked. What about a book that you want to read?
Maybe the new like Percy Jackson books. I've been like,
wait, there's new ones?
He's still coming out with books every year.
Wow.
It's been like 20 years. He's still going.
That's insane.
Yeah. So one just came out in September. There's gonna be another one coming out in the fall. He has one like every year in the fall. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I still have friends trying to convince me to read Percy Jackson. I just never got into it. Someday I will get there. Amazing. Yeah. It sounds like it's a time for me to make a trip to the library for those Percy Jackson books. Thanks to everyone for listening to this episode of Life as Girls. Remember to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode, and we'll see you next time.
If you enjoyed this episode of Life as Girls, be sure to write a review and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And a big thank you to our sponsor, the Girl Scouts of Central Texas. You can learn more about them at www.gsctx.org. If you are interested in sponsoring this podcast, or if you have a topic you'd like for us to talk about, email us at communications@gsctx.org. See you next time.